Morning, y'all. I hope you're all well and in good spirits. Today I got more raza news. I wanted to wait until I had three things to talk about before making this video again. So here are the three. First, we'll start with Joe Biden and immigration. He's recently, brought out some new policies regarding asylum seekers that are very Trumpian. And so the message being conveyed is that he's going to be hard on, asylum seekers, making it more difficult for them to apply for asylum in contradiction to standing U.S. law, which states that if you are on U.S. soil, you can apply for asylum. And he's making it such that you have to apply through an app on the smartphone. You have to have applied in a country you were passing through on your way to the U.S., and that's not existing law. And several other things that are just making it harder for asylum seekers to seek asylum. He's doing that because the 2024 election is coming up, and the conservatives will try to paint the Democrats as weak on immigration, opening the country up to everyone, and that's why folks can't get a job, because they're taking your jobs. That's the rhetoric. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's the rhetoric. And so that's item one. Biden is getting Trumpian with his immigration laws. And I'll add that, a lot of this is politics. Obama is often called the deporter-in-chief by immigrant advocates who want him to do more. And he's also called the deporter-in-chief, I've seen, by conservatives looking to defend Trump. They'll defend Trump by saying Obama deported way more people. And both of them are wrong. I think the raza folks I hear use that to defend Trump are just dumb. The immigrant advocates who say that are being deceitful because they know better. The truth is that before Obama, a deportation was considered the removal of an alien from the interior of a country. Someone who had already established a life here, who was living in the interior of the United States. What Obama did was change the definition to include a guy that just landed on this side of the fence, they grabbed and threw back. Now that was a deportation, where that was never considered one before. And so all the folks they were catching at the border or 10 miles inland were now being counted where before they never were. And that was the bulk of them. So that racked up Obama's numbers, which is what he wanted to do to appear hard on immigration so that he could pass immigration reform, which he never did. He promised to do it in his first term when he had the votes, and then decided to delay it to his second term so that he could get a second term. And by then, the House had changed, and it just wasn't going to happen. The next item of raza news is that the 77th precinct in LA reported that street vendors are being robbed at double the rate they were previously in 2022, and that statewide robberies of street vendors are up 20%. Now, when a street vendor is attacked and beaten and it makes the news, the raza gets all worked up in a knee-jerk reaction type of way. I think it's for views because they talk about it while it's news, and then they never seem to speak up for street vendors until the next one gets beat and makes the news. So I share this news that they're being robbed at double the rate in some places, and generally it's gone up because those stories are more buried. But they could be more insidious because they're ongoing and not really being talked about. So I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. And the last item, I think, might be the most interesting. In my last Raza News, I had mentioned that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is just an ugly human being on the inside, I'm not going to make fun of her outside, banned the use of the word Latinx on her first day as Arkansas governor. The Arkansas government could not use the word anymore. I think she was doing it not to stand up for the raza, but to attack the LGBTQ community because of the X on the back of Latin. And the interesting news is that now Latino Democrats are proposing a bill in the state as they say in Main Justice, up there in the state of the Connecticut's. And so there's a bill in the Connecticut legislature proposed by Latino Democrats also asking to do away with the word. They mentioned that Puerto Ricans found it particularly offensive, and they used the same study that Sarah Huckabee Sanders used, which is that 77% of people who would qualify as Latinos don't even know the word. Another 20% know it but reject it as not suitable for them. And only 3% of Latins use the word. And so the argument was that it's a word being imposed on us by people who want to sound woke. And they don't want to use it anymore. And so I think this story is really interesting because now it's Democrats saying the same thing and it's Latinos saying the same thing. Not Sarah Huckabee Sanders using it to beat up on the LGBTQ and fight the cultural wars that they need to fight to get votes. And another thing that was interesting, and here's a new word, I'd never heard it. But there was someone from the LGBTQ community on this news article, and he said, I dig it. We don't have to use Latinx, but we should find an inclusive word, and I suggest Latine, with the E on the end instead of an X. And I thought the E stood for Latin everybody. But he said, this is a word that is regularly used in Central and South America. So it would be a word from us, for us, that is inclusive. And so that story was just really interesting to me because you had a Latin LGBTQ person kind of conceding, okay, we don't really need this. We can use a word that already exists, that's gender neutral, that it was Democrats and Latino Democrats pushing the same thing. And I'm not so sure anymore that what they're doing is intended to attack the LGBTQ community, but rather recognizing that if only 3% of Latinos embrace this word, is it the best word to ask them to describe themselves as? And so it was just to me it was something kind of unexpected. And so with that, that's this segment of Raza News. Hope you guys have a good one. I'm gonna go do some push-ups because this video came across my feed and it was this guy, Wes Watson. And the title on the thumbnail made me think it was gonna be about one thing, and it was about something wholly unrelated. And it captured my attention because he was talking about something that I had talked about only 2 days prior, which is that you can't really love others if you don't love yourself. And a measure for how much you love yourself is how much you invest in yourself. And that's not to say like buying stuff to make yourself look good, but investing in things that will build your confidence, spending money to be involved with something you're not sure you can handle and then handling it, a swim from Alcatraz or something like that. It builds you up, it makes you more confident, and it costs money to do those things. And so that's what I see as investing in yourself. Taking time to go for walks and exercise, investing in good food to nourish your body properly, etc. And then he called out people, yelling at him. And he says, when you go to the beach, when you go to the Hawaii, and I love Hawaii. He goes, are you really happy out on that beach with some pasty titties? When you can look like this? And that motherfucker said that. I said, I got all insecure. I didn't get insecure. I was just fucking with you. But I thought it was funny. And it did make me do more push-ups. So, kudos for the inspiration to do more push-ups. So I ain't out on the beach with some pasty breasts. That fool's a nut. Anyways, have a good one. And I hope you have a wonderful Friday. Much love.